Good evening and welcome to Your Voice, TuVoz America. We're the brand new Latino MAGA channel. So I want to welcome you tonight. We have a lot to talk about. And this channel is so important because we want to make sure that we are bringing the truth out to our Latino communities. So I will be your host, Bianca Gracia. I am the Latino for Trump Vice President across the nation. And I want to say that I just welcome you. And I am so excited about this show. It's just MAGA. I can't even explain. It's just MAGA. MAGA every day, MAGA every night. But I just want to welcome you. So I want to introduce you to my two co-hosts tonight. We've got Juan Fiol out in Miami. That's right.
Hola, hello.
Juan is the one, Miami Trump Volunteers. Is that correct, Juan?
That is correct. Miami Trump Volunteers, yes.
That's awesome. So I'm going to show you here that we are coast to coast. I am in Texas. Juan's out in Florida. And we've got Cassie Luevano here with us tonight down in South Texas. She is reporting. She is down in the border. She's going to talk to us and give us some just feedback and information about what's going on down there. So today I want to talk to you about so many different things. Guys, there's so many stuff going on, right? I mean, every day, it's every day Trump is doing amazing things.
Yes, he is.
Talk about the tax bill that passed, and now it's got to get back to the House, and it's got to get to Trump's desk. So that's the one thing I want to talk about first, because you know what, guys, this bill was important. It's important to us because we as Latinos, we know we are hard workers. We're family people. We are a unit, and this is going to put more money in our pockets. So I want to talk a little bit about the tax bill that just passed and how exciting it is. You know, right before Christmas. So many things, but I want to get your viewpoint, guys. Juan, tell us a little bit about what give us some feedback on the tax bill. What's been going on in Florida? How are the Cubans down there? How are our Latinos doing? What are they feeling?
The Cubans are excited. They're elated. Believe me, everybody's really happy. Everybody's really relieved, especially that Trump was able to pull this off. I mean, I think that it's a big shock to the Democrats and to the people who don't like Trump that he was able to actually do it. Because remember, their whole narrative is that Trump is not going to be able to unite the country. He certainly is not, and he's not going to be able to unite his own party. That's not the case. He actually got everybody to jump aboard. He got everybody to sign off. 50 out of 51 votes in the Senate voted for. I think there was only one hold off, and I'm sorry.
Yes.
And even McCain voted for it. So I think that has sent the Democrats into a frenzy, into a hysterical frenzy. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to make of this. They don't understand. They understand. They understand that Trump is making America great again, and it goes against their narrative. And so now they have to stop it somehow. They can't allow Trump to make America great again. They have to somehow put a wrench in that. And that they have to stop it. They cannot allow him to succeed making America great again. And he's going to. And this is just the beginning. And if he's able to pull the country together, at least his party together, to pass this bill, because remember, he has. The Republicans do have the majority in the House, and they do have the majority in the Senate. And as long as he could pull that off, he could get laws done. See, he can't just govern by doing executive orders. He has to get bills passed, signed, and documented. And this is the first one. It's going to get done. But after that, I'm very confident. I'm very optimistic that more is to come. And one of the ones that's going to come is going to be, of course, getting rid of Obamacare. And especially the Obamacare mandate, that's coming. I mean, if he's able to pull this off, he could really unite the country, and that's what has Democrats freaking out. And then we also have this immigration bill that I'd like to talk about. You know, not right now, but when we start talking about it, I want her to get a chance too. But I'm very excited about the future, and I'm very excited about the stuff that Trump is doing. That Trump is actually making America great again.
That's right. So thank you, Juan. I love that, and you know what? You're right. This bill, it was kind of a little crazy for us, right? When we couldn't get the Obama care repealed, we couldn't get that done. But then what happened is this tax bill went through, and now it's like Every day, Trump is delivering on just the promises that he made to us. That's why we voted him in. And not only that, he's doing things that are unprecedented. You know, moving the embassy back to the capital, back to Jerusalem. I mean, that's huge. The Democrats, they're out of control. I mean, they don't know. So I want to take it over to Cassie. I want to hear what, just, you know, Cassie, let us know. You know, we both grew up in South Texas, and that's really the heart of the Democrats. Listen, that is as blue as it gets.
That's the backyard.
So much poverty, But there's something that you know, the Hispanics are they're waking up. They're understanding there's more money in their pockets. Cassie, tell us what you think about the tax bill. What is going on?
Well, number one, howdy to everyone on watching. Thanks for having us, Bianca, and hello to everybody in the 305 area. Yeah, you know, we're ready to get to work. Bottom line, as Hispanics, one of the first things you mentioned was we are hard workers going into this conversation. Something about Hispanics and Latinos is from the time we can work, whether it's helping out grandma in the garden, to going to working at the grocery store, to 90 years of age, we are hard workers, and we want to value every single penny that we get from our checks. So not only is this tax plan going to help us, not only is it going to bring all the foreign investments and help us create more jobs in America, but this is going to put many of us more to work, which is what every single family always asks for. What we're looking for, stable jobs, bringing more, making the economy better, you know, just stimulating so many people to get back to work, making America great again.
Right.
The foreign investments coming back to America is just, you know, just scratching the surface of it all. But there's so much more of keeping our hard-earned dollars in our pockets, in our banks, giving more food to our family, more clothes on our backs. Items like that matter in the Latino community. How much to make a dollar stretch, you know, Bianca and I have talked about it. We love our families. We love growing our families. Well, hey, we like growing our bank accounts too, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And this plan's going to help us do that. Money.
That's right. And you know, one important thing today, hot off the press, do you guys know that the Hispanic unemployment rate dropped to 4.7%? That is the lowest it's been in history. Can you imagine when that tax bill finally gets to President Trump's desk and he signs it, how much more that our unemployment is going to go down? Hispanics have been waiting to get to work. Under Obama, there were no jobs. You know what? My household we were so tight. You couldn't spend money. The money that was coming in was right back out. I mean, I couldn't try to start a business. You know, as Hispanics, you try to start a business, we had to pay Uncle Sam every little thing. We couldn't keep any of that money in our own pocket. Too much regulation, overtax. You know what? As a Republican, I'm going to tell y'all, this is what it's about, is keeping more money in our pockets, growing the economy, and just conservatism. It's the way we spend our money, the way we live our lives. Less government in our lives. Let us do what we need to do. We want to go to work. We want to feed our families. We want to send our children to a good school, get a good education so that they can be better than what we were. That's just every generation. Every generation I see that. I don't know if that's the same for you, Juan, but here in Texas, that's the way the generations are. My parents wanted me to be better than what they were. Their parents, my grandparents, wanted them to be better than what they were. It's always progressing. So education is really huge for us. So I think that this is going to be really, really good. It's going to speak to the hearts of the Hispanics. I've said it all along. I think that if we would have had shows like ours are going to help and prepare us for 2020, because we didn't have a voice. We had no voice. We were like a silent majority out there making our own home videos, making our Facebook lives, and hoping that someone was watching. And you know what? When they said 18%, he's just going to get 18% of Hispanic Latino vote. Guys, he got 30%. He should have gotten 60. Had we had the voice and we were out there able to defend, we could have had that vote. So yeah, Juan, what are your thoughts?
Well, in parts of Miami-Dade County, he did get a 64% of the Cuban vote, wow. which is, I mean, astonishing. but yeah, I agree with you 100%. And of course, one of the reasons why we have to do this is because of education, like you were saying, because our unfortunately our schools and our universities are now indoctrinating our kids, especially Latino kids,
Yes.
into believing a leftist ideology. But like she was saying earlier, you know, we Latinos don't really fit into that mold of progressivism. We just don't. We're hardworking people. We're fiercely independent. We're highly religious, especially you know, many Catholics.
Yes.
And we're not progressives. We're not. So for them to just say, well, because you know, some people get here illegally, therefore all of you have to jump on the Democrat bandwagon, you know. It's like, wait, hold on a second. What are you guys talking about? You know, we have values, and our values are you know, trump anything else. I hate to use the pun, but it's the truth. Trump anything else that the Democrats, you know, indoctrination could throw at us, and we have to teach that to our kids, and we have to teach that to the younger generations, and let them understand that. Wait a minute, we have a work ethic. We have you know, a religious culture, that we're not just going to abandon because because the Democrats all of a sudden say, oh, wait a minute, you belong to us. No, we don't. We don't belong to you. And a lot of Hispanics are turning this tide, are turning away, and are saying no. And you know, and here in Miami, and I know you guys are in Texas, but I gotta talk to you about what I see here. You know, a lot of the Cubans started. We started the this movement for Trump, and a lot of the Cubans came out, but then also a lot of Puerto Ricans jumped aboard, and the Nicaraguans jumped aboard, and the Mexicans jumped aboard. And before we knew it, we had all kinds of people helping Trump. Hispanics in the middle of the street with street signs, and everybody, and like the Democrats were like, "What is this? You know, we're in the Twilight Zone or something." I'm like, "Yeah, this is Miami. Welcome, welcome to Miami, buddy."
Yeah, if you remember,
and I know you guys did it in Texas.
That's right. Well, and if you remember, I flew out to Miami. To come march with you all in front of Univision. I said, something's happening in Florida. I need to go see what's happening. I went to go learn from y'all, and I brought it back to Texas. I said, this is phenomenal. I could not believe it. I said, you know, if the Texans, if our Hispanic Tejanos just would understand what was really going on, because you guys got it. But I was like, why is it our Texans, our Tejanos they're not getting it. They were too offended. Oh, he said this. But you know what? There are some realities going on. That's why I wanted to have Cassie on tonight. So I'm going to jump into that for a little bit. One, I'm not really sure if you read the headlines, but let me tell you something. We most recently lost one of our Border Patrol. One was severely injured at the border. Listen, the Democrats throw this gun control. Let me tell you something. They weren't shot and killed or shot at by guns. They were attacked with rocks. Beaten. One of our Border Patrol was beaten to death. That's the reality. When we talk about national security, when people like us understand building that wall, we have a sovereignty here in our country. And enough is enough. And you know what? I've taken some heat. I know some of you have taken some heat when we say, oh, we want that wall built. But let me tell you something. I'm going to give it over to Cassie here because she comes from a border town. She has a lot of perspective. She knows Border Patrol agents. She knows what's really going on down there. So, Cassie, let us really know. Let our Hispanic communities. We don't want to lie about it anymore. Let's face the facts and the reality of the things that are happening. It's hurtful. It's hurtful. But you know what? It's the reality. Cassie, let us know what is happening down there.
It's a sad but a truthful reality that we live. First and foremost, we want to send prayers, you know, to the Border Patrol agents' families, because those are our brothers, those are our uncles, those are our aunts, you know, that's our family members that have their necks out on the line for us, protecting us day in and day out. I come from a family of law enforcement, federal and local, and I could tell you, I grew up respecting the badge. I grew up knowing, you know, you make your bed every single morning. You do the right thing, whether it's a penny you find on the floor, someone who drops something out of their pocket, you do the right thing, you know, and we got to all come together and respect that. One of the things I also want to mention is that you know, here in Texas, we have a lot of border, you know, from the southwest border to just the southern border, the West Texas border. Where I am currently sitting today, I'm about 25 miles from the Mexican border here. And, you know, it's very detrimental what's going on in South Texas. I just came from San Antonio. San Antonio is located 218 miles south of the Mexican border. I was driving on the highway, reading FBI signs, digital billboard signs, asking clues and tips. It's the holidays. Those 2 Border Patrol agents should be spending time with their family and loved ones, not being requested for wanted information by the FBI. That is a sad situation that we're in, and I hope that justice is come and brought to them and for their families. We got to do our best. We got to support our president. We have to let our community know. We have to use our platforms the right way. And when we have a voice, we need to use it and speak up for the right and the just thing. And, you know, we have to educate our community, guys. We have to let them know there's a home for them to come into. We have to start bringing them to the table and not just sharing that conversation of, you know, controversy, but making it the positive impact of conversation. How can we help? You know, what can we do to send our people to school? Border Patrol, you know, they have classes where you become a citizen. You go to the Citizen Academy. You know, we need to start, you know, showing our support to them, saying thanks, you know, spending that Saturday with them, bringing our community to show, hey, this is what you do in this type of situation. We have a lot of ranchers down in South Texas who they're in fear of offending, you know, those who cross over, in fear that something from their home might go missing, a threat might be made. These are conversations that we have weekly. They're headlines that we see in the media locally. It's sad, and something must be done about it. What's being done about it is that we're making America great again. We have a president who is supporting our federal agents, and that's exactly what we need. And we are so proud and blessed to have President Trump.
That's right. So, Cassie, would you say that being down there this past week in the southern border, what are people feeling right now? You know, I know there's a sadness,
yes.
but you know, a lot of people say they talk against this wall. Oh, this wall shouldn't happen. You know, we got all these different opinions about it. Mm-hmm. But you tell us the truth about what people are really saying on the ground, not the media. What the media is saying.
Truth,
the people on the ground.
The truth is, we are losing lives crossing the border illegally. The truth is, young girls, young boys, from toddlers to 5-year-olds to 15-year-olds, are being stuffed in trailers and being found dead in them, okay? Being compacted, suffocating in the Texas heat, crossing the border illegally. We get it. We know that we are the dream. We're the country of dreams. We are, you know, the Mecca of it all. And we cannot allow these people to die on our hands. Right. And the coyotes, the drug cartels, not only is it what we're calling it, but they are violent. The violence that it brings, that's the sugarcoating that the media excludes, that these people are not violent about the ways they come into town, what they're doing on the ground, bringing people in and items that should not be in elementary schools, found in middle schools. Yeah. You know, here in South Texas, it shouldn't be normal to have a K-9 unit sniffing lockers looking for drugs. But that's a sad reality. That's what the news does not report. That's the sadness to it all. That's what we need to start, you know, exposing, saying, hey, we got to stop this. These are children that we got to take care of. These are our family members that we need to take care of. These, you know, we're religious, yes, but these are human lives, okay? That we cannot be putting into trailers, that we cannot be putting onto trains coming from Guatemala to America. You know, it doesn't start and begin in Mexico. It goes way further than that, and we all know that here. But we need to educate our community on that.
That's right.
Bianca, can I weigh in on that?
Yeah, sure. And just one real quick thing, Juan, before I turn it over to you. One of the things is I read that the cartels, Cassie, have actually started to, there's more money into human trafficking. So not only are they bringing drugs, but the whole human trafficking, now that's the money making business for the cartels. So yes, you're right. You know what? We are losing lives, and we're also are seeing that there's more women and children who are being enslaved. So there is some truths and some realities of what's going on and why people like us supported the wall. Juan, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is, where is the compassion in these victims? Where is I mean, because the liberals come across and they come and they tell us that they're the compassionate ones, and we're the hateful ones because we don't want them. We want to build a wall, so therefore we're the ones that are the hateful ones. But where's the compassion in these victims? I mean, they're enabling these people to come in. Right. They're by allowing there to be two different paths to being an American citizenship, whatever. Because I don't think they should be allowed to become citizens. But for there to be two paths to immigration, a legal one and an illegal one, they're enabling this type of how should I say, of abuse of this type of thing to continue. I mean, a lot of these people that come from Guatemala and from other countries, they don't really know what's in store for them. They're coming in and they think they're just going to cross over. But hang on a minute. These cartels have something else in store for them. A lot of them, there was a report that I remember that Trump came out when he was running at the very beginning. He came out with a fusion report that said that 80% of every woman that crosses through that border illegally gets raped. And it's a fusion, and it's a fusion from Univision, a report. So it's not even a right winger doing it. And Huffington Post later on, rebroadcasted that same report. So imagine 80% of every woman that crosses over gets raped, and a lot of them get kidnapped and into prostitution.
That's right.
And they get addicted to drugs because they're fed drugs in order to keep doing the illegal work. A lot of them are forced to be mules for the drug cartels to cross over. Say, look, you want you want us not to kill your family. Cross all these drugs over for us. And if they get killed, they get killed. And if they get caught, they get caught. And if they get arrested, they get arrested. But all they're trying to do is get to America. But they have no idea that this was in store for them. So as long as we have this disaster of a border open, these people are going to keep trying to get in here illegally, and the gang members are going to keep doing what they're doing, and it has to stop. I mean, we have to create a big deterrent and say, listen, you cannot come here illegally. You cannot come here illegally. So, having said that, and I know that we spoke about this earlier. Do you think you want to jump into those new bills that we were talking about, or regarding immigration?
Yeah, in just a second, I just want to reflect a little bit back on what you're saying, because these are the truths. What you're talking about, what Cassie's talking about, this is the reality of what's coming through the border.
Yes, it is.
So the Democrats, listen, the Democrats are the party for women, right? They pushed Hillary Clinton. They're the equality, the ones that stand up for women. Why aren't you standing up for those women, those 80% who do get raped and are here illegally? Where are you? What is it that you
get kidnapped?
Or get kidnapped? Where's your voice then? You want to be the party of women. You want to protect women, but yet you allow these things to happen. But yet you want to come across as a party. Those Democrats want to come across as a party that they're the compassionate ones. Because, pobrecitos, they've been suffering in those other countries and they need to come over here for a better life. Really? So you want to talk about a better life means getting raped at the border? You want a better life means that you may be taken into prostitution. A better life means that that you may end up dead in the back of a truck. That's a better life. That's what you want. That's a rhetoric that you want to push, and you're okay with that. I have a problem with that. Those are the things that you're right. Listen, we don't do a very good job of educating our people, and our people need to know that there is some truths, some realities to what really happens when people cross the border illegally. There is some bad things that happen. Yeah, Cassie?
You know, and it's sad because in our Hispanic community, we lose a lot of young men. There's a statistics with crime rates among the young Hispanic men as well. And you know, it's not a wrong place at the wrong time. You know, we have to start addressing where these drugs come from. We cannot allow it to happen at a very young age, you know, where a 15-year-old, you know, is shot in a parking lot, you know, where they're going to juvenile at detention centers at 10 years of age or younger because they're caught with illegal narcotics in their backpacks, in their back pockets. But how are they getting those distributions? Where are they coming from? Okay, that's what we need to stop. And I know there's mothers, grandmothers who we see in the Hispanic community lighting the candles, you know, praying at church, and we all want the best for our families, but we have to help them stay out of that. And the only way is by supporting our law enforcement agents, letting them do their job effectively. We have to let the justice system do what needs to be done, and we need to strengthen it and allow the president to do so. Want to touch real quick, you know, there was an update made a couple of weeks ago that the U.S. Border Patrol acting chief is now a woman. Her name is Carla Provost, the first ever. You know, our president, you know, like you touched a little bit on the women.
Yeah.
Why have they not applauded a female law enforcement agent officer, the highest Border Patrol agent officer? Why have they not elevated her? So, you know, I want to give her applause to that, and I do want to, you know, highlight on that a little bit. But we have to support so many people in doing this, and there's, you know, we have to take care of one another in the Hispanic community, from the little brothers, the little cousins. We have to support our law enforcement agents and let them crack down on us. Put those stops in the border, okay? Instead of everyone feeling so offended, they have nothing to hide. Allow the officers to search the cars, okay? Let them do their job. Let them find the illegal weapons, the illegal drugs, and others, okay? We need more and tighter crackdowns. And in Texas, it has been done, and I hope it continues to be done so.
I've been in Mexico five or six different times, and every single time I went, I had to show my passport. I never one was offended by it, you know. And if I have to show my passport to go into Mexico, and Costa Rica, why didn't they have to show their passport to come in here? And I like what Kathy was saying that about the drugs. And Kathy, you're 100% correct. I remember Mexico was such a nice place to visit. Mm-hmm. So much business, so beautiful. And now it's like you can't even go to Cancun. Why? Because they've taken over entire states, and they're growing cocaine leaves, the coca leaves. They're growing opium to make heroin. They're doing it right out of Mexico. The entire state of Michoacan is completely taken over by the cartels, and Guerrero, where Acapulco is, it's completely taken over by the cartels. Not to mention the border states, and it's not just there. It's also Honduras, Salvador, and Guatemala. These countries, the peasants can't farm anymore because, I mean, I want to call them peasants. The farmers can't farm anymore because the drug dealers want them to farm drugs. Yeah. And it's like, and they no longer have a nice, innocent, I would say, or, you know, back how it used to be. You used to go to these countries and it was like nice and humble and family oriented, and you could go anywhere and it was nice. And now you can't because you have drug dealers who control all the streets, who control everything. And it's dangerous. You can't even go. And it wasn't like that. And it's terrible.
They've lost that, Juan. They've lost the, you know, Mexico, Honduras, Venezuela. I mean, look at Venezuela. Total socialist country. That's what Hillary Clinton wanted for us. They wanted complete, total government control.
It's a narco state. All they do is traffic narcotics.
Yeah, it's horrible. And so, you know, I understand why there is families that are trying to cross over here to come for the American dream.
Of course.
But no, it's not worth, you know what? It's not worth dying on this side either. or going into prostitution. If you're trying to flee from something and then you come over here just to come into being prostituted or taken up or kidnapped, like you said, held against your will, drugged, whatever, put to work somewhere where you don't want to work, you don't have a freedom, you still don't have a freedom. So what did you really leave for? So, that's the realities of the things that are happening. It's a very, very sad time. One of the things also, is being Latinos, and especially who supported and continue to support our president. We supported President Trump and we continue to support him. One of the things that I think really hit our communities, guys, was the ruling of the court in California with Kate Stein. Yeah. That really hit. That was a very sad day. The feeds on our social media, so many people were upset. We got Latinos for Trump going out and building a human wall on the border in LA tomorrow. We got people who are doing protests against this ruling. I don't know how much more, I'm like, the left, the Democrats, I'm like, stop with the freaking nonsense. This rhetoric that's hurting our communities. You let these criminals come back in. It's a catch and release program. And then you want to tell them to live in a sanctuary city. You know what? A church, the churches we're Catholics. You know what? That's a sanctuary place for us. We don't call sanctuary, we don't make cities just sanctuary. That's wrong. It's wrong because this is the kind of stuff that happens. People get murdered. These criminals have been in and out of our country, in and out of our jails, and they keep coming in like no big deal. And then all of a sudden you have something like this happen, and it's just a tragedy. It is a tragedy. This is a reality of what is happening around the country. And I am very sad for that whole mess, and I watch, California in flames. And as a Catholic, as a Christian, and I go, by God, wake up, California. Wake up. God isn't gonna, there's no righteous in our country. I mean, some parts of our country are losing that. And I do thank God for living in Texas. One, I'm sure you thank God for living in Florida. That we continue to fight for what we believe in. And it's just a tragic thing. I want to just get a small time of your viewpoint on that whole mess, in California. One, what are your thoughts on the Kate Stein ruling?
Oh, it's unbelievable. But that's where the president could actually step in and they have grounds as a federal government to take that case and make it a federal case. To have California hand over the guy to be tried federally. I think there's grounds to do it, and on federal weapons charges as well. I think the guy had an illegal gun and stuff. So there's plenty of like when California is done with the guy, they should, and they turn him back over to the federal government. And I know there's a lot of different federal statutes that they could use, to try the guy. And so I think that the president's going to have to step in and do the job that, not the president, but the Justice Department has to step in and do the job that they were supposed to do. So let's see if our federal Justice Department has any spine.
No, you know what? No, that's a good point. Actually, Jeff Sessions did come out. That he came out and gave a small press release, and he said that the guy who was found not guilty, they were going to have to turn him over to federal custody because they will be charging him with because obviously he's a felon who's been back in and out of our country 5 times now. So they are going to charge him with illegal weapon. They were looking at anything else they could charge him with, right? They were looking at whatever other statutes they could and laws that could go against him, because that's sad that our federal government and our DOJ has to step in because the state couldn't do its job, and they were using advocacy in their courts. They were doing social justice in that jury room. That's what this was about. This was about social justice and letting him out because they're sanctuary, and that's it. That's right. Kathy, did you want to say something?
I know in Texas, we pushed for that. Our voices, many Texans, and it's sad because just as the other topics, Kate was not at the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, no one deserves that type of death, and to be found guilty of possessing a firearm by a felon, which is I believe what the case was at the end. This catch and release thing. We need to wake up. The government telling the government to do their job. Come on. Yeah. We got those sheriffs that they implement the sanctuary city rules.
Yeah.
Having to, we're blessed to have a governor that he supports our law enforcement, and that, he stands his ground and says, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. Having law enforcement and government to tell those others to do their job, they're getting paid to do that. Taxpayers, citizens, Americans, whatever state it is, we're entrusting our livelihood for them to watch over us, for them to protect us, and for whether it be a court, be a precinct, we cannot allow these people back into our communities. That's okay. Right. Something happens to an individual when they are caught, whether it's in jail for 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days, and just to say, here you go, here's the keys to freedom, you're back out on the streets. No. We need to send them back to where they came from, okay? And putting them on the street next to an innocent, right the next day, right the next morning, the next evening, that's mindfully not, I don't agree with that being the right call. And then you have what happens to Miss Kate, and it's a sickening circumstance that we're allowing to happen in our country. Okay, we let it go once. What are we saying? We're slapping this person on the wrist. We're letting it go. We cannot let items like these go. So I hope, that the Justice Department does come in, they bring down the hammer, and Kate gets justice. And I hope a lot of Americans stand with us and behind this. And there's many other instances where individuals, and especially in the Hispanic community, this happens. It happens, or they go out on vacation, they don't return home, because they're wearing a nice necklace, they have a nice watch on their wrist. We have to be more vigilant. We have to be stronger. We have to enforce the laws and be Americans, okay? People come into this country, we have constitutions, we have laws. People need to abide by those laws.
That's right. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I really do think that we have a lot of people out there right now that want justice for Kate. If that was my child, obviously, guys, I just don't know how her family, my heart goes out to her family. I just don't know how I would be holding up myself. It's just tragic, and how the court system in California allowed that. Our officers are Border Patrol, anybody who wears a badge, they swear under oath to protect and serve. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. So one of the last things I want to really talk about tonight is there was a bill introduced on immigration, y'all. And, this whole thing with, oh my God, the uproar, I was so mad because I thought, this is kind of a good thing. I'm so glad that President Trump said no more DACA and threw it back at Congress. Okay, because first of all, Obama had no business making laws. Not what he was voted voted for or put into office for. That's what legislators are put in office for. They're the ones that should be making the laws. But you know what? I'm glad that our president was bold enough to and say and do the right thing, and he threw it back at Congress. So now there is a bill. I don't know, how many of you or how many people have read it. They're not even, this is what makes me so mad right now, is that the Democrats don't really want to talk about this bill. They don't even really want to talk about the DACA bill right now, but it's fresh. And you know what? I was reading some of the parts and some of the things, and of course, Kate's Law. Listen, the whole catch and release thing, ending that. They want to end chain migration. The bill says, hey, you can bring in your children, your spouse, but no more grandma, aunts, uncles, tias, whatever, the extended families. Your immediate family can come in, legally. We want to end the chain migration, and it allows the DACA kids. Check this out, guys. It gives the DACA kids 3 years work permit. with a 15-year wait to become a citizen. So they would have to go through all the legalities if they really want to be in this country. They get 3 years to work and then start getting all their stuff together, right? Get all their paperwork together, become a legal resident. To become a legal resident, to become a U.S. citizen. So it gives them 15 years. I think that is way too nice, obviously. But you know what? It's a compromise. I said, you know what? Do I really believe in having to go and pick up all these people and throw them across the border? I don't. There needed to be a solution. We needed to do something that was common sense. Mm-hmm. But these DACA recipients, they also need to be appreciative. They're not entitled to citizenships. They're not entitled to amnesty. They're not entitled to anything. Because the bottom line is they're still here illegally. Whether they were brought in as a child and they didn't have a say-so, but they're still here illegally. So I just want to talk about this bill and just the little things, the different things that they're introducing, how that affects, and what you guys think. Do you think it's a good compromise? Do you think it's a good bill? Because Breitbart interviewed some of the DACA recipients, and they're saying it's not good enough. They want immediate citizenship, and they don't want to end chain migration. So I'm going to take it out to you, Juan. Tell us, what is going on?
Well, there's two different bills here. There's the Gracia bill, which is the Bridge Act, and that is a 3-year kind of like deferred another DACA for another 3 years. They're giving up 3 more years of letting them stay here to the DACA recipients, to those people, but it does not allow them to get citizenship. And then there's another bill, which is the Succeed Act, which is from Tillis, a different senator. And that one is the 15-year path that you were talking about, and that was going to give us a pathway to citizenship, which I think is absurd. I mean that we could give them a pathway to a green card, a pathway to not a green card, but for them to be able to stay here and have a work permit or work visa, because they were brought here illegally, they weren't they didn't know what was happening. That's fine. The ones that truly were too young to know what was going on, that they should be allowed to stay. Fine, I get that. Okay. Now this whole chain migration stuff is where it gets a little hairy, and this is what I don't like, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, especially in the immigrant community, and this is why I wanted to talk about it. Okay. The chain migration that they're talking about is for DACA recipients. The DACA recipients could not bring in their family, their extended families, or any family for that matter, which is fine. They're here legally. We're giving them some kind of, letting them stay, so they could have some kind of work permit, not send them back because they were kids. We get that, okay? But why should we allow them to also bring in their whole family? That doesn't make any sense. So chain migration for them should be completely off the radar. It should completely be off the table, which is fine, which is what this Bridge Act talks about. But when you hear the president say it, and when you hear pundits like Laura Ingraham say it on Fox News, it kind of sounds like if they don't want legal migrants to bring in their families, and that creates a problem for many people who got here legally, because they're like, wait a minute, so now because you can't just bring in a bunch of people and say, okay, I'm bringing in my whole neighborhood. It doesn't quite work that way. You have to say, well, it's your child, it's your mother, and you have to be able to say that they're not going to be a burden on society. So there is a vetting process, and that's already in place. So it's not like we have to do any of this. So when they say chain migration, and you hear the president he said it today, people who are ignorant, and people who are, I wouldn't call them ignorant, but rather that they listen to Jorge Ramos.
Yeah, they're not listening correctly.
They listen to MSNBC, and they're like, okay, wait a minute, they're not allowing me to bring my family. I'm like, wait, that's not what this bill says. That's not what this is at all. But I would like for the president to, or to somebody to tell the president, take it easy on that, because the legal immigrant community is misinterpreting what you're saying, and they're thinking that the president's not going to allow them to bring any family at all, and that's not the case.
Right. Okay.
And it shouldn't be the case, because if you're going to let somebody in and they could take care of the family and their family's not going to be a burden, then let them in. They came in legally. And anyways, and that's not the biggest thing to do with. That's not the biggest problem with this. The biggest problem with this is the president never spoke about any of this when he ran in the campaign. He spoke about a couple things. He spoke about the wall.
Yeah.
Fine, build the wall. Okay, why are we diverting to other things, into legal migration and whether they could bring their families or not? He never spoke about this during the campaign. Why is he allowing these senators to divert what his speech and what he's talking about to talk about things that he never spoke about in the campaign? You know, he spoke about throwing out the bad guys, the criminals. Okay, criminal aliens. Hey, I'm all for that. Throw them out, every one of them. Build a wall.
Build the wall.
Yeah.
But exactly. But I don't think the president should allow Congress to commingle all of these different acts, all of these different things, and say, well, if you want to get your wall funded, then let's take care of DACA and let's take care of chain migration or family unification. The president should say, hold on a second. First of all, you're gonna fund my wall. Okay, that's number one. And now you're not gonna get your tax bill or anything else done for that matter, or whatever negotiations you want to do. First of all, you're gonna fund my wall, and that's gonna be separate because that has nothing to do with immigration. That has to do with national security. Okay, yeah. It shouldn't be part of an immigration bill. It shouldn't be spoken of together with any kind of immigration because it has nothing to do with immigration. It has to do with national security and border security. Okay, so let's get that done through a national security type of funding, and then we could talk about the other stuff. DACA, fine, whatever. Pathway to citizenship, no way. A chain migration or family reunification for anybody in the Bridge Act, no. I agree with that, no. But he should be specific and say, no, none of these DACA are going to be able to bring their families. We may allow them to stay here, but they're not going to be citizens. We're not going to give them a pathway to citizenship. We're going to be a compassionate country. And since they have a little bit of a legitimate argument to stay here, that they were too young to know, to have any say, that we should be compassionate and let them stay. I get that, but that's the end. That's the extent of it. Okay, they shouldn't be allowed to be a burden on the country, get any kind of legal anything. I mean, help or of any kind, and they shouldn't be allowed to bring their families. Now, that's what I think. But we also have to define clearly who qualifies as a DACA, because I know there's a lot of older kids that are like 27, 28, they're like qualifying for DACA. I'm like, why? So those are all things that need to be handled. But what I would like to see is the separation, is the president to say, you know what, guys, your DACA bill is fine. I'll listen to it, but stop mixing it with family unification and stop mixing it with what you're calling chain migration, because that's not what we spoke about when he was running. And that's not what he spoke about in the campaign. So I think he should stick to his guns, stick to what he said. And if he could build that wall, let me tell you, and throw out all those illegal aliens, okay, all those criminals that are here legally, he's going to be a champion. And everything else, if you could limit the, for example, there's certain countries that only allow 20,000 visas in a lottery. Okay, if you could change that and say, okay, let's get rid of that, and instead of allowing a lottery, let's allow families of people who got here legally, who are not going to be a burden. Okay, we'll give them for this country, instead of the 20,000 lottery, let's let them bring their families and allow up to 20,000 of their families, and get rid of the lottery altogether. That's just one compromise they could do. But again, and I repeat, we have to separate all three of them, and he should not allow Congress or the Senate to mix these bills into some kind of border funding, because the border has nothing to do with immigration. It has everything to do with national security. That's my opinion.
You brought up some really good points, Juan. That you're right. It's clarifying things. Drawing a line between what means what. And, I think right now the senators are just under so much pressure. They're just trying to throw everything together, put it all like in some, like a, recipe. It's like a recipe. They're throwing all these ingredients in, trying to make something happen. And I love what you're saying, because Cassie and I know, we were talking about this earlier, and Cassie has the same viewpoint. I'm going to give her a chance to be able to express that, because she was right on track with you. I mean, she understands this. And so, Cassie, I want to give you a chance, talk about that, exactly drawing the line between things and what means what and what that means to you.
The commonality that Juan just spoke about, Juan, you hit it right on the head. This isn't poker. Congress needs to stop. They want to put in some cards here. They want to ask for a new deck. No. My sentiment goes to those people who have properly waited in line for the past several years. Enough cutting the lines to the front. Enough asking to raise the chips. This is not a game. One step at a time. There's a lot of issues we need to clarify, that we need to work on. That the President Trump didn't just initiate in January 2017. These things have been going on, okay? It's because of Twitter, social media, Facebook, that now everyone has a voice or has an expert opinion into how we should fix this. But you know what? One step at a time. We have a national security problem, okay? It's a disgusting problem that we have. You fly out anywhere to any other country. You talked about it, Juan, about showing your passport, and we shouldn't be offended. Those who come into America, they need to show the proper documents. Those who want to become Americans need to do it the proper way. Okay. There's been I've seen pictures. There's naturalization ceremonies where thousands of people, okay, monthly are becoming citizens the legal way. Okay. There's so much to this conversation that gosh, we need to do it one step at a time. And I don't know how else to say that, okay? The bills that come in, Bianca, you said they're trying to throw everything they got at the president. Is that what the Democrats want? They want the most minimum thing that you can throw just to pick for the fight in Washington. Yeah. No, why don't they ask? Let's stop shouting at each other. That's another thing. From side to side from the sidewalk to the sidewalk. Why aren't the Democrat voters saying, hey, Mr. Congressman, Mr. Legislator, Mr. Representative, work on something better for us, something safer for us, okay? That's the smartest thing to do here. However, cutting to the front of the line, going through tunnels, crossing the border, that's not what I'm about. Building the wall, okay? That's what I'm about. Yeah. we have the FBI agent thing that just happened. Well, there's a lot of controversy on what type of wall we're going to build. And, a virtual wall, I mean, is it going to work if we can't figure out what happened to our agents? What's going on? What's going on? But, we have to do it one measure at a time. Not feed, the Democrats, the Republicans, this controversial bills just to throw at the president. No, our president gets so much criticism. Well, you know what? Let's work the right way to do it. Give him something to work with on the Dreamers, but let's do it the right way. Okay. If and so, don't just throw him something that's been hanging out in your office for the last 8 years with the last 8 years administration. Okay, that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly in a Republican-controlled environment now. Okay, so that's what we need to work on.
And I think our first priority needs to build the wall first, get rid of the illegal immigrants, and then start talking about what kind of something we're going to offer to the ones that are left, here, that are not the felons, that are not raping, that are not the cartels, that are not the MS-13s, the gangbangers, the ones coming in and out of prisons, the ones who are sitting there holding up people in vehicles, stealing their stuff, going into their homes, burglaries, robberies, human trafficking. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, terrorizing our communities. First, we got to build that wall and secure our nation so that, because we're talking about all this DACA stuff and allowing these people to stay. You know what's going to happen? We don't have a wall right now. So what's going to happen is all these other people going to cross over and say, I've been here. I have been here. And so I deserve this. And so it's going to create a mess because we haven't been able to secure our border. So I think the first thing we need to do is build that wall. Yeah, Juan.
Let me get a word in really quick. I think that what's going on here is that they're making the senators are and the those people in Congress that are putting these bills together are doing it in a way to change Trump's the way he speaks, the stuff that he's saying, his rhetoric, if you will, to I hate to use that word, but anyway, I couldn't think of anything else, to make it sound as if he doesn't want illegal immigrants to bring their families, which is family reunification. They're making it sound as if Trump is 100% against family reunification. Whether that's what he's saying or not, that's what the Spanish media, Univision, Telemundo, this is what I'm trying to get at. Univision, Telemundo, and all the other ones, that they're all the same nonsense. And MSNBC and all these people, they're not even talking about it, but the Spanish channels are. They're making it seem as if Trump does not want them to bring their families. And that's not what this bill that I'm reading at. This it talks about this DACA bill that was talked about by the Bridge Act. That's not what this talks about. But the fact that Trump even came out today and said no more chain migration, they're making it sound, okay, they're twisting it around, if you will, and they're making it sound as if he does not want them to bring their families legally, that they have been able to for many years, as long as they weren't a burden on, as long as the people were able to maintain them somehow, and as long as they weren't going to be a burden on the country, they are allowed legal immigrants to bring their families in, and their immediate family, their nuclear family.
Yeah.
So the fact that he keeps repeating these words is actually what the Democrats want, because they want to churn off every single Latino who got here legally. They want to turn them off and turn them away from Trump, and that's what they're doing. And he doesn't realize that by saying that and by allowing himself to say what they want him to say, which is chain migration, no more chain migration, no more chain migration, and instead of differentiating what is actually in these bills and what is actually happening, he's falling for a trap. And that's my opinion. And I think that whoever's ever advising him should really pay attention to what the Spanish channels are saying, because they're really doing a number on him.
Well, that's the fake news. That's what they do. The left, they focus on something and they go feed it to our communities, giving them the wrong information. And then now, you know what that's what they have left. They wanted scare tactics. That's all they do. Jorge Ramos, I mean, we know that one. You know that more than anything.
But the people who listen to it don't.
Yeah, it's scare tactics. So, guys, we are almost at the end of our hour. This has been a MAGA night, y'all. This is awesome. This is our first. We're coming live to you for the first time ever. I'm super excited. I want to thank Your Voice America for allowing us Latinos to have our own voice, and we are no longer silent. You know, my hashtag has always been, we ain't backing down. Latinos, we're relentless people, and we're going to keep pushing forward. And our hashtag is we ain't backing down. We are on Trump's agenda. We have been on the Trump train. We are conservatives. We love what's happening in our country. We're going to keep fighting for it. I just want to thank, Bill and Ann, just at Your Voice, the whole team at Your Voice America for allowing us to come on this show, to have our own voice, to come and bring some truth out to our communities. And so I'm just so glad that you all were able to join me tonight on our first debut. And so I know that we're going to have a lot of love and a lot of hearts out there when we go, and people are just going to come on and they're just going to love on us and want to hear from us. And you know what? The object of the show is I want to bring Latinos, because there's a bunch of us. There's a bunch of us that the media is never going to give us time. They're never going to put us on Univision. They're never going to put us on Telemundo. So now we have the opportunity here. I want to bring Latinos from coast to coast, all across this country, who feel like we do. They have the same passion that we do. They love what's happening in our country. They respect our president. They love him. And you know what? 2020 is going to be bigger and better. And the next 4 years, I sleep like I know I feel a little bit safer at night, guys. Ever since our president won, it's been a year. And I feel like we're moving forward. Are we perfect yet? No, there's still a whole bunch of stuff, and the left is going to continue to fight us. So you're right, Juan. Listen, that's exactly what the left is going to do. They're going to chime in on something, they're going to grab a hold of something, and they're going to use it against us. And they sit there and they lie to our community, and they keep lying to them. And that's wrong. And you know what? And I'm glad our president says fake news. Fake news. They have tanked. Their ratings have tanked. They're like the lowest of all time. So our show, I'm just so grateful. Just we got a couple of seconds here. So Juan, just close out your part in just a couple seconds.
Well, thank you for having me on, and whoever listens to this show, whoever watches this show, thank you. And we're going to bring you more information and more stuff. And us Latinos are going to help make America great again, believe me.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you so much. Cassie, couple seconds, just to close out.
Alrighty, thank you for having us, Bianca. Thank you, Bill and Ann and Carrie and Your Voice America, TuVoz America. Latinos, we need you to help us make America great again. Okay, the door is open for you to help us. We have a home. We have friends, okay? Come join us, Latinos, to not listen to the fake news anymore. Be the good news, okay? Make America great again with us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. You have a great evening. Tune in next time to TuVoz America, where we're going to make our Latinos communities great again.